Okay, so Lakers offseason so far. Let me just kind of, what do we make of the offseason so far? Because I could see people on here that are basically saying Palenka's the worst. What is this guy doing? Then I could see other people saying, okay, you know what? Palenka's actually, he hasn't given up the farm and you still got a lot of assets and you added a center, right? Like if you want to look at it from that perspective, you can kind of make a case for both. Um, Here's what I like so far about where the Lakers are. And I kept mentioning this last week. I'm like, listen, if we get to Saturday or Sunday and they still don't have a center, then there's obviously concerns. But we're still relatively very early in the free agency and moves that can happen. But let's just kind of assess where the Lakers are sitting here right now. What do we make of the offseason so far? Here's what I like, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm referring to. You got a center, and you didn't have to make a trade to get him. I'm not going to sit here and try to make a case for everybody because honestly, I think it would be dumb to do so and sit here and tell you that DeAndre Ayton is the answer. DeAndre Ayton is the present. He's the future. He's, the most important player the Lakers have signed in years. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. It would be idiotic for me to do that. But what I will tell you about the Lakers getting Ayton, they got a center. And they got a center that has a ton of upside. It's going to be on his back and his shoulders to figure it out. They got a player that can put up real stats and put up real numbers. He's only 26 years old, so this isn't a wash player or anything like that. They got a center. And again, they did not have to go trade. If you go look back when they were trying to trade Mark Williams at the trade deadline, trying to trade for Mark Williams, remember what they were giving up? They were giving up, whether you think it's a lot of assets or not, the Lakers don't have many assets. So the moment they were giving up Dalton Connect and a first rounder, and the moment they're putting those chips on the table, that's all they got. I mean, there really isn't too many pieces that the Lakers have to play with. So at least for them, if they're opening up the cupboard and they're saying, okay, well, what do we have to trade? That's a significant piece of what the Lakers have as far as some of the assets that they have. Well, they got a center who's 26 years old, who's got some good playoff experience, who's definitely got some upside, who's a walking double-double, and they didn't have to give up anything for him. And they just signed him for a 2-year deal worth about $16 million, somewhere in that range of $16 million. That's obviously a great positive for the Lakers because it gives them still a number of options. One thing I've noticed as well, and I don't know if this is strategic or not, this is always funny when this happens. It's Lakers really have not made any moves, right? They signed Dalton Connect, they signed DeAndre Ayton, Jake LaRavia they got as well. They haven't gone out there and made any trades. And then in your mind, you start telling yourself, you're like, they seem patient. They're very responsible. You know what? This must be new ownership. By the way, I have no idea if any of those connect. But in my mind, I'm like, look, they didn't make a deal and they must be sitting in a boardroom. And all these guys must be wildly patient. And you know what? New ownership is already putting their fingerprints in and say, no. Move up 20 spots to go make a draft pick. No. Don't trade any of your assets yet. Hold on to them. I don't know if that's the case or it's just ironic and the Lakers just haven't found a move that made sense or the asking price is just too high. I don't know. But if I had to list some of the things that I think are positive so far, they still got all their assets. What I don't like about it so far, if I had to look at the Lakers offseason, which is it's a double-edged sword. I could sit here and say, well, they haven't made a trade yet, and they still have all their assets. But part of the negative, to be honest with you, is they haven't made a trade yet. How much did we hear walking into the offseason? I've mentioned this before, and you guys are going to hear me mention it a ton. How many different times have I talked about that exit meeting with Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick down in El Segundo? And Pelinka made it sound like, hey, when this summer starts, we're firing every bullet. Now, things have changed. How much of the strategy has changed, how much of just the offers haven't been there. It's not like there were early trades early in the right before the free agency started. The free agency period started. Desmond Bane, obviously Kevin Durant. But it's kind of quieted down a little bit until this morning. Norman Powell and John Collins get traded. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show. But I think with all that in mind, it is a little bit of a double-edged sword. I feel like I was oversold or I was overpromised and under-delivered, if that's the right way to put it. I think so, right? It feels like I thought walking in, it's like for sure Lakers are going to start making moves. They haven't made it. Now, it almost reminds me of when free agency started. You don't have to be the first one that makes a move. And that's not going to determine, just because you were the first one to make a move or the first one to sign a free agent, that's not going to dictate whether you had a good offseason or not. Frankly, I'm not even 100% sure what the Lakers' goals are this offseason. Yes, it was to get a center, but maybe the goals have changed since new ownership. Maybe the goals have changed when it felt like they sent a message to LeBron like, hey, pump the brakes, brother. We're not using all our assets to chase something that we don't even think is realistic this year. We got to go plan for a future that has Luka Doncic, and we're not just going to keep giving up assets just so you're happy. You're 40. You're going to be 41 years old. You're still a great player, an unbelievable athlete, and everything else that comes with it. You're still box office and selling a lot of tickets, but the end is coming here. So I think overall, as I sit here and I look at the Lakers, I'm not disappointed in their offseason. I'm really not. I think getting Ayton and not having to give up assets was huge. And I still think it's really, really early for them to determine what to do next. I saw this, and I think this is something just to keep in mind. Bobby Marks put this out. Bobby Marks joined the show last week, was very nice with his time. I'm going to share this screen with you guys so you guys can see it as well. Basically, every time a team makes a move, Bobby Marks starts rolling up his sleeves and giving a full breakdown of the position that every team is in. Take a look here. We could kind of look at it together. So here's Bobby Marks. He put this thing together. So updated Lakers offseason. Ayton, Jake LaRavia split the non-tax mid-level. Jackson Hayes signed with non-bird rights, 120% of the 6-year minimum, 3.45. Got a little bit of a raise, I guess you can call it. 13 guaranteed contracts, 2 partial non-guarantees. The $3 million Shake Million contract is they basically have to guarantee it by July 20th. So they got a little space, a little bit of time here. If they went out, hypothetically, got Bradley Beal or something like that, they would take him off the books. So this kind of gives a little bit. Here's the Lakers starting 5. Luka, Reeves, LeBron, Rui, DeAndre Ayton. The reserves, Gabe, Goodwin, Bronny, Dalton Connect, Shake Milton, Kleba, Thero, Jake LaRavia, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jackson Hayes. That's what the Lakers have right now. They're just under that first apron, 195.9. Lakers projected salary at 195. So this kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of where the Lakers are sitting, and that's where they're sitting as we walk into the rest of free agency. Okay, let's take a look at some of your comments, and then I want to spend some time talking about what the Lakers still need. We'll talk a little bit about backup center. We'll talk about Bradley Beal. We'll start getting into some of those other topics. All right, let me find this. There we go here. Let's see what everybody's got to say. Get everybody's opinion. Wow, that's a horrible bench. Yeah, not a good bench. Not a good bench. No defense or depth, or no depth or defense. True as well. By the way, here's the reality in today's NBA as well. You gotta have depth. Gotta have depth. You also gotta have youth. And the Lakers are in this kind of weird in-between space where they're trying to get younger. Jake LaRavia, don't go out and sign. They don't pick up Dorian Finney-Smith, and they don't give him a 4-year deal. They're in the process of trying to get younger. At the same time, they bring in DeAndre Ayton, who's only 26 years old, but at the same time, they could very easily be signing a player in Bradley Beal, and it's like, all right, well, they got a little bit older again. But that one I think is different. I'm not overly concerned with that one. Thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you. by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.